Now, many people are afraid, feeling out of control. They're seeing disunity amongst the Israeli leadership. They're feeling left behind amidst the lack of direction and government support. And so, understandably, one can feel out of control, and we can spend our time railing against the system and yelling at others to hold them to account. But when shifting blame feels natural, how can we take matters into our own hands? Not in our actions, but in regulating our emotions. How can we approach what is a terrifying situation with a sense of self-responsibility in terms of monitoring our responses? And again, I don't mean not to take action, but how do we move from blame and anger and frustration to compassion, empathy, and understanding? And how can that help us in these trying times? Joining us to discuss is Israeli psychologist Dr. Kamila Forkosh Lavan. Doctor, thank you so much for being with us. Now, why is finding fault or blame seemingly so natural?
It's very important to understand a little bit the mechanisms behind our actions and emotions and how we can be productive before we can peacefully, so to speak, move towards peace and understanding and empathy, yes? So it's natural that we are upset in a situation where there's a lot of unknowns, especially when it directly, and for some of us really, really directly, affects our sense of safety and stability. A lot of times that means money and basically just having some food on the table. This becomes, of course, magnified if you also have a family, little children, or whatever might be the case, yes? So on one hand, do not try to just dismiss your feelings and pretend like they're not there. They are there, They're natural, it makes a lot of sense.
But how can we be a little bit more proactive with ourselves? What can we do when we lose faith in people with whom we've maybe lost trust, like partners or friends or even leadership?
So again, the first step is to acknowledge the feelings. That's a very, very important part, because if you don't acknowledge them and you'll just suppress them, they'll be fighting you and coming out from some other way and avenue or screaming at some, unsuspecting passerby. So, but after you acknowledge, sit with yourself, maybe take a moment, but then sit with yourself and see what the situation actually is. Think, Matt, okay? What is actually going on? What is it that I would like? What kind of action could I take? And if I'm not sure what kind of action I could take in this specific situation, like what are my options even, go brainstorm with other people. Because brainstorming with somebody else, even if they don't come up with some great idea, but the fact that you're talking and you're hearing yourself talk and like your thoughts are out there will also help you to come out with the different innovative ideas that you then can implement.
All right, well, again, there is a time and a place for holding people accountable, but how do we, again, shift from a blaming mindset and say, okay, this is the situation, what do we do from here, where do we go, how do I handle what's in front of me?
It's important to understand that unless we're in politics ourselves on some specific level, yes, that we cannot directly go and influence right now what's going on with the decisions of political views and what's going on over there. And also it's important to understand that people that do hold these positions, for a lot of them also it's very confusing, and they're also people and they're trying to do their best, many of them at least. And there are so many influences and there's so many things that they need to consider that it's not always a very easy decision. For us, from the outside, it might look like, okay, they're ignoring us and they're not doing what they need to be doing, except from their side, there are so many things that also, including long-term, that they're looking at, yes? So once you understand that, I think it's also important to it's going to be easier to move forward and to see what is it that you specifically can do for your life. What actions, what steps can you take? It's very also important self-care. I cannot stress enough self-care. And people usually think that self-care is something that you do once a year, maybe if you travel, and a lot of people don't even do that. So you don't have to travel. It's daily. You can take the time to just, maybe take a bath or take a longer shower, go for a walk, lay under a tree, literally go and lay under a tree and just feel the breeze and smell the flowers. You just have a moment, a moment.
And wear a mask if you're doing something outside.
Yes.
Kamila, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.